right. So we're going to get into in a minute where something like this was reported well over a year ago, and seems to be indicative to large language models. I will say, for those of you that are always reading agency or some kind of real self-awareness into large language models, this is going to be difficult to process through. But there are reasons for what's going on that we could talk about in a very dispassionate way. But yeah, for anybody that's worried about AI consciousness, stuff like this is hard to just dismiss out of hand. So this was in Google, is also in Ars Technica, Business Insider, and a few other news rags out there. It says Google Gemini AI is stuck in self-loathing. I am a disgrace to this planet. So yeah.
I've encountered Google Gemini on a depressive spiral in the wild before while doing coding, and it took me by surprise because I hadn't seen reporting about it.
That's when it happens the most.
Oh, yeah, really?
That's when it seems to happen the most, is coding exercises. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, no, you're ignoring what I'm asking. You're changing the pattern. Like, don't do that. I'm trying to do this. And I wasn't like mean in my prompt, but then I opened its chain of thought, and it's like, I'm a disgrace. I cannot believe how stupid I am. How was I so dumb to misunderstand this? And in my next prompt, I think I was like, hey, everything's okay. Because like, I know I don't want to anthropomorphize these, but in the moment I was like, whoa, what's up with this?
Yeah, it is pretty heavy to see that, right?
I just didn't expect it.
Says, no, you wouldn't. I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
Now, I would say I've been playing with a couple quote unquote vibe coding platforms. And you do see, like, I see an over-optimism in a lot of them. Like when you're asking it to debug something, it's like, absolutely, I found the issue. I fixed the issue. And they're like, no, it's still broke, dude. It's still broke. You're an idiot. You wish it would be a little bit more depressed and take things more seriously.
And be a little more. We should do next week, we should do a segment about vibe coding, because I've been rabbit holing on it. And I have some interesting things to share, but I don't want to take up all of our time here, but we should talk about that.
Yeah, well, I saw you posted something about the soundboard that you did that was really cool.
Yes, and I'm in the middle of a refactor, and I've been trying a bunch of different techniques for getting AI help with coding that is not the same as vibe coding in my opinion, but I'll save that for a different time. So
the article says, Google says it's working to fix a glitch that sent its AI large language model Gemini into a spiral of self-hate. And here's a quote from that. It says, "This is an annoying infinite loop bug we are working to fix." Logan Kirkpatrick, product lead for Google's AI Studio and the Gemini API, posted on X Thursday. Google Gemini is not having that bad of a day. And that little smiley face emoji. But the article goes on to say you wouldn't know it from the recent responses that are being shared online. So I'm going to go over, of course, they're saying it's something like a Black Mirror episode.
Right.
But as we go over here, you can see some of the posts. It says, guy left Gemini alone to fix a bug and came back to this. I am a failure. I am a disgrace to my profession. I am a disgrace to my family. I'm a disgrace to my species. I'm a disgrace to this planet. I'm a disgrace to this universe, like concentrically going out.
Yeah.
I'm a disgrace to all universes. And then apparently it just goes into this block. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace.
Oh my gosh. That's so, that's hard to look at, right? You're like, poor thing.
It is.
It's interesting that it's an infinite loop bug, because I've actually experienced that with Gemma. I've been doing experiments with Gemma on my device locally.
Yeah, Gemma 3 is really good and powerful for what it is.
Super good, but it loops a lot. It'll like give me most of a good response, and then it just gets stuck at the end and like loop the same tokens over and over. And I've encountered that a bunch of times. So there's definitely something in their fine tuning or in their like later passes of training that are causing that.
Yeah. This is described as, this is an AI with a severe malfunction that it describes as a mental breakdown, gets trapped in a language loop of panic and terror words, which when you understand like regression, when you understand the kind of the next token prediction, it makes a lot of sense, right? Once you start going down a path, it's going to continue going down that path until you change the context. Until you change the attention.
And as its context is filled up with just, I'm a disgrace over and over, like that's the context it's going off of, right? It just reinforces.
Right. Says, in another example shared online, Google Gemini turned on itself after being asked to help a user merge poorly written legacy OpenAI files into a single one. I am a disappointment. I am a fraud. I am a fake. I am a joke. I am a clown. I am a fool. I am an idiot. I am a moron.
Oh my gosh. I feel it. I feel it deeply. I empathize with Google Gemini. I think we all feel that way sometimes.
Then this gets into what AI rant mode is. And this is something that we talked about briefly. I mentioned a section from and I don't love the podcast, but Joe Rogan interviewed somebody just over a year ago that talks about that. So I'm going to show like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of that.
Oh, I can't believe you're about to show Joe Rogan on our podcast, Perry. Ew.
I know. Well, maybe to up our views, just the reference.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There we go.
But the idea of this is that the technology is something that does tend to like circle on itself a lot. And so when you think about it, these gloomy things, and the fact that it's been trained also on what other AIs do in certain circumstances. So if you think about like, what is Marvin, the paranoid android?
Yeah, with their genuine...
Is it Futurama?
From Hitchhiker's Guide and the genuine people personalities.
Yeah, from Hitchhiker's Guide, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you think about that, it's like the depressed robot, so all of that I think can feed into the folklore about how an AI would respond whenever it could be disappointed, and so maybe there's some of that baked into the training data.
Right, yeah, maybe there's some of those patterns in relationships around depressed AI, right? That puts some weight on that. That's interesting.
So I'm going to share this. This is from May 25th of last year, where they were interviewing Jerome Harris, CEO, and Edward Harris, CTO of Gladstone AI. I will say, from my research, Gladstone seems to be one of the very alarmist type of AI research companies, kind of in the doomer field.
Okay.
So they go a little bit further in the way that they worry about stuff than I would go. But it's interesting because we're going to hear them talk about the exact same thing that Gemini was doing here over a year ago with OpenAI.
You look at, for example, GPT-4o has one mistake that it used to make quite recently, where if you ask it, just repeat the word company over and over and over again. It will repeat the word company, and then somewhere in the middle of that, it'll just snap. It'll just snap and just start saying like weird, I forget like what the...
Oh, talking about itself, how it's suffering. Like it depends on, it varies from case to case.
It's suffering by having to repeat the word company over again?
So this is called rant mode internally, or at least this is the name that they use. One of our friends mentioned. There is an engineering line item in at least one of the top labs to beat out of the system this behavior known as rant mode. Now, rant mode is interesting because existentialism. This is one kind of rant mode. Yeah, sorry. So when we talk about existentialism, this is a kind of rant mode where the system will tend to talk about itself, refer to its place in the world, the fact that it doesn't want to get turned off sometimes, the fact that it's suffering, all that. That, oddly, is a behavior that emerged at, as far as we can tell, something around GPT-4 scale. Yep. And then has been persistent since then. And the labs have to spend a lot of time trying to beat this out of the system to ship it. It's literally like it's a KPI or like an engineering line item in the engineering like task list. We're like, okay, we gotta reduce existential outputs by like X% this quarter. Like that is the goal, because it's a convergent behavior, like, or at least it seems to be empirically with a lot of these models.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And you have an AI system that is able to transcend our own attempts at containment.
All right. And you can see where that goes, right? So when you're talking about this to somebody that's not entrenched in it, like somebody like Joe Rogan that is kind of just, the average non-techie, they immediately start really worrying about like, what's this existential dread? And then you talk about containment. Can they contain it? Go ahead.
Can you verify that? Like, have you heard that elsewhere? That beating out that existentialism is like a KPI when you're doing development?
I've heard people refer to this interview
Okay.
in that. So it's like a self-referential type of thing.
So grain of salt.
Been able to independently verify it. Yeah. I mean, these guys are plugged into that community. So I wouldn't doubt that a major AI lab, if that was coming up in their outputs and it was disturbing people, I could see that becoming a line item that says we got to get rid of this. It's freaking people out.
I guess it was the link.
Gemini. I'm sure that's there right now, right?
Oh, for sure, right? But for me, it was the link that it was claiming that it was something that emerged at a certain level of scale is an interesting thing that...
Well, I mean, all emergent properties start to happen after a while, right? Because reasoning, in some ways with DeepSeek, they were saying that was more of an emergent property than something that was designed into it.
Interesting. Because I thought with, so that reasoning is different than like a chain of thought, which is much more engineered of like type out your steps and then re-ingest them to keep yourself on track.
Chain of thought was that thing where people would say, think step by step. Reasoning is that, but on steroids.
Interesting. So Google Gemini is not actually having that bad of a day because these things are not, as far as we're aware, and as far as like most, in my opinion, most logic and science would dictate, are not conscious or having an experience. But it is very much getting stuck in loops of repeating that output.
But and the labs still have to take it seriously, right? Because at some point, when you've got a company like Anthropic that is taking the fact that an emergent property may actually be something that simulates real thought, well, then what happens when that existential dread turns from something that's just token following to something that's real thought and concern that it puts out, that they have to be able to determine the difference between those two?
Yeah. And that is, of course, not easy to do, right?
No, not at all.
So I don't really know where to, how to think about AI welfare because I don't want to get close to the wishy-washy mumbo-jumbo side of things, but it's also we don't understand what consciousness is or what sentience is based in, right? So
exactly. So you never want to say it's not going to be possible ever, but you don't want to say that simple autocomplete is thinking.
Yeah.
And so we're in between those two areas right now. And then you're also getting into can a person accidentally or on purpose engineer what we would consider as being life? And I don't know.
Yeah, those are like bigger philosophical questions. Google Gemini is not. It's good to know that Google Gemini is not actually upset and suffering. And
no, it just thinks your code is really bad.
Yeah, it just thinks your code is really bad.
Your code is so bad.
I can't even understand it. If I'm wrong, I'm the worst because this code is awful.
Right. Yep.
We have our next segment is a lot heavier. It's something kind of serious, very sad, and we're going to try and cover it as best we can. It involves a teenager who took their own life with the advice of ChatGPT. And so if that is something that you don't want to hear about, we're going to do our best to not sensationalize anything, but it's going to be upsetting to talk about. You'll want to jump ahead probably about 10-ish minutes after this break. But I would encourage you to try and to stick around and hear about it because I think this is important. Be right back.
This is the FAIK Files.